Welcome to episode 2 of Media Nest, the podcast where we discuss films and music albums. We recommend each other a film and a music album each week and then we discuss it. So, my name is Adam and I'm joined today by Dylan.
Hello.
And Brad.
Yo.
And this week, the film recommendation was from Brad and the album recommendation was from Dylan. And then I'll have a little question for us at the end. So,
Lovely.
Brad, if you want to introduce our film recommendation this week.
So the film we would like to be discussing this week is Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, which is, of course, the first one in the franchise. So a little bit of background on that. So the film was released in 2003. As I said, it's the first film of the series. Received generally positive reviews and was also the fourth highest grossing film of 2003. So that's pretty big things. I'd say there was a few interesting facts about this. I mean, it was directed by Gore Verbinski.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm not too familiar with any other work.
Nope.
But
I'm familiar with Rango. Rango's a really good film.
The animated Johnny Depp one.
Yeah, surprisingly good, Rango. I'd recommend that.
Cool.
It was nominated for 5 Oscars. Didn't win a single one of them, though, because that year was kind of dominated by other films, such as Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, a little film called Return of the King. You might have heard of it. It won 14 Oscars that year, so unsurprising.
Fair.
The idea behind this suggestion for this was something was subliminally put in my mind. Right now, this is going to sound crazy because I haven't told Dylan this yet.
Here we go.
But we were suggested an album by a friend of ours, right, that we listened to, right?
Yeah.
And in this album, right, there was a song that had Johnny Depp's name, right? The name Johnny Depp. Yeah.
Well, no, it was Jack Sparrow Blues, wasn't it, bro?
Yeah, so like I say, Jack Sparrow, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about this, right? I didn't even clock that I'd listened to a song with that name, yeah. And then a day later, Adam's asking me, "Oh, so what's the film suggestion?" I'm like, Pirates of the Caribbean. Little did I know, in our other group chat, Adam had posted a photo of this said track, like, "Oh, this is a good song," and I was just like, I'm fucking mind blown.
Damn.
Yeah, literally an hour before you recommended that film as well, but you hadn't seen it at that point.
No.
What the?
I'd not seen the message.
Kind of weird.
That's a bit. I don't like that. That's a bit spooky.
I mean, we watched Possum last week, and now these spooky
This is
things
scary.
keep happening.
Yeah.
You know,
I know. This bag keeps
Spooky
turning up
time.
in the end of my bed. It's weird.
It was just weird though, because I literally went into the other chat and I was like, "Why is there a song called Jack Sparrow here?"
Yeah.
No, it's like because I'd listened to this album myself.
Yeah.
It's just it must have been in my head somewhere. I must have read the track and been like, "Oh, do you know what? That's actually a good idea for a film suggestion." But I didn't clock it until I saw Adam's message.
Damn. Because like a few days prior to that, housemate suggested that we do a Pirates of the Caribbean marathon day, and we were planning to do it on the weekend that we watched it, which just blows my mind.
that is kind of weird.
That's free coincidence. I don't like that. Possum fucked us up.
There's something that we've done that's influenced us in that.
I think it was watching Possum that we're all cursed.
Yeah, we're now cursed. But yeah, so Pirates of the Caribbean.
So first of all, right, I just want to ask you guys, right, what was sort of your like high points of this film? Because
High point.
Because for me, right, there were significant high points and very significant bad points.
Oh,
okay.
Controversial.
Okay.
So Dylan, I'd like you to start with this.
Okay, a few of my high points just off the top of my head. Considering it was filmed in what, 2003?
Yeah, 17 years ago. Crazy.
17 years ago. It is absolutely stunning. It looks incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about that movie, just the set design, the makeup is unbelievable. The costumes, like just aesthetically, it looks so good. It doesn't look like it was made 17 years ago, which blows my mind. It's amazing, and we'll probably come on to this more. But the score, the whole like dun 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 dun, like that thing.
We'll talk about the score later, definitely.
Yeah, because me and Adam watched this together, and one thing we noticed there was very significant things about the score, right? Because obviously, I mean, it's now known as an iconic score because of, you know, when you hear that sound, you think Pirates of the Caribbean, you know,
straight away.
If you hear it and you instantly know what it is, then I feel like you've done a good job there.
Yeah,
definitely, yeah. And the fact it came out same year as Lord of the Rings as well, it's like that year, just the best scores in like film history, debatably, you know. It's so iconic.
Yeah.
You can remember that just if someone says Pirates of the Caribbean, instantly that like main track comes into your head.
Agreed.
Yeah, one of the bad points I wanted to mention about the film, which was also going to lead me into something to do with Lord of the Rings,
Okay.
is that there was some significant acting in this film, which was rather suspect in my opinion.
Okay.
Right, Brad, shall I say my positives before we get into the
Yeah.
negatives then?
Go on then.
Because we've definitely got the same negatives.
Okay.
But yeah, positives for me, as Dylan said, like the set design and the character design, like even just Jack Sparrow's character,
Yeah.
you just like to the boots and the weird little hair extensions and stuff. That's such an iconic character that you just instantly know what he looks like without watching the film. Like, I hadn't seen this film in probably at least 10 years.
Yeah.
But you just know what Jack Sparrow looks like as soon as someone says.
Yeah.
And another positive, I think, for a Disney film, it's got a very good script because compared to
Agreed.
some, well, more modern Disney films where they're just so by the numbers, there were some really interesting ideas in this film. And everything in the script was set up, which I appreciate. But it was like the twist where, obviously, we're into spoilers anyway, aren't we?
I mean, you can't really avoid it, can you?
Yeah.
I mean,
Spoilers.
this
Spoiler
film's been
alert
out
now.
for 17 years, and I'm pretty sure everyone's seen it. Didn't it make like 600 million at box office? So
I thought it made $1 billion.
No, the second one made $1 billion.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, I mean, everyone's seen Pirates of the Caribbean
Yeah.
at this point. So, like the twist where it's always sort of double crossing, and the scene with Johnny Depp where he gets stabbed, and you're like, oh, he's about to die. Our favorite character's about to die, but then
Yeah.
it's revealed that he's got the coin and he's turned into one of the like cursed seamen or whatever, you know, the cursed sailors. And like the
not
way
seamen.
that was shot, I found really interesting because the moonlight and the coins were like set up earlier on in the film. So
Yeah.
I just like the fact that the script made sense, and like
Really
obviously
well
they
written.
knew they were just having fun, but there was a proper plot and proper script behind it, you know.
Yeah, agreed.
But negatives.
But right, let's go because
Right.
I'm interested to hear this.
Okay, so I'll start, and then I'm sure Brad can come in with his opinion.
Yeah.
Most of the film holds up, but there's
Okay.
one specific aspect of this film that is hilariously bad in hindsight, right?
It wasn't even in hindsight. I knew this when I watched the film 17 years ago.
That thing is Orlando Bloom's acting, right? The entire film, he is terrible. Straight up terrible.
No, because it's like that puppy dog, right? That it follows you around all day and just stares at you, right? This is how he feels in that film, right? It feels like you've got all these great people doing good things, right? You've got Johnny Depp doing this portrayal of Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
It's so
amazing.
Which is brilliant,
enigmatic, you know. It's
Fantastic.
there's so much personality there, right?
Yeah.
You've got Jeffrey Rush playing Captain Barbossa, and he's this
Amazing.
like villain badass, you know. He's
Amazing.
He's doing his thing, you know. You're like, do you know what? And some of the scenes that Barbossa had, with, particularly with Elizabeth Swann.
Yeah.
I really like those scenes, you know, where he was like really trying to intimidate her.
Yeah, I think the one good thing about Jeffrey Rush's portrayal and that character as well, going back to the script, is he actually has a motivation. How many Disney villains have zero motivation? They're just playing up the evil. Like Barbossa, he's like a horrible pirate, but you understand why he's doing this. And you're like, oh yeah, fair enough, I'd do that. And he's also just great. Like, he's just a menacing villain.
Yeah.
He's just perfect in that role.
But Orlando Bloom, oh my, the acting just alone. All right, so I found a few things about this film, right, that did now not surprise me at all in hindsight reading about it. Okay, so Orlando Bloom was one of two people they sought for this role. Okay, this is what I've read from my sources, right? The other one was Heath Ledger that they wanted to put in this role.
Oh shit!
Okay, right. And now, do you know the reason why they chose Orlando Bloom?
Because of Lord of the Rings.
Because of Lord of the Rings, right?
100%.
Really?
That's literally the reason he got the role. Because the director, right, it was just like, hey, do you know what? We got this man over here who's starring in something like the biggest film of the time right now. If we could just put him in our film, right, that's going to make more money. That's money right there. Right?
I mean, that is classic Disney 101 though, isn't it? It's like, right, we've got these characters. It's not who's perfect. It's like, right, we've got Johnny Depp. but Johnny Depp is a serious actor. He's going to put the effort in. But then they're like, oh, who was that guy who played Legolas? This guy carries a sword. Should we just get him to do the same thing? Oh, look, he's doing a backflip.
Another interesting thing about this film was that Johnny Depp wasn't originally the person they wanted for this role. Well, he wasn't the person this role was written for, shall we say. Because the script was actually written in the early 90s, but Disney did not want to initially put the film out there because of the bad history of pirate films, because there had not been a decent pirate film, or that's made good money, since the 1970s. So initially, nobody wanted to actually take the film on. The initial script was written with Hugh Jackman in mind.
Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
See, that would be bad. See, Heath Ledger as Will Turner, that would be great. But obviously, this was pre-Dark Knight Heath Ledger, so he was still doing sort of romantic comedies and stuff. But he would have been so much better. But if you took Johnny Depp out of this film, I just think it would crumble.
I want to say that Johnny Depp in this movie is honestly some of the best acting I've seen in a long time. Like, obviously this movie's old, but it's just the way he plays his character. Like, it feels like it's just him. It doesn't look like an actor playing a character.
Yeah, I think
that makes sense.
The one word is just charisma. Every scene he's in, it's just everyone's focusing on Johnny Depp. Yeah. And you forget that it's Johnny Depp at one point, where you're just like, right, this is Jack Sparrow. And that's why that character's so iconic. Will Turner, on the other hand, every single time he was on screen, it took me out of the movie because every line was delivered in the exact same way, and he was just delivering it like he was Legolas.
Fair. Okay.
My issue is that it's just I've never known someone to overact. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what Orlando Bloom does. He overacts. Right? He takes a situation and tries to make it far more dramatic than it even is.
He's actually unique because he underacts and overacts at the same time somehow. because his line delivery is like so one note. He's like, "Hello, Elizabeth, I love you," but then also at the same time he's doing this weird scrunched up puppy dog eyes where he's like,
Do you know what? I didn't notice that, but
trust me,
I want to see a couple of scenes now. I'm gonna go after this and have a look.
Yeah, so you're telling me you did not find his acting atrocious.
See, again, when I'm watching a movie, I'm one of those people who just kind of sits back and just watches. I don't really critique as such, but no, fair enough. I didn't notice that.
No.
See, Dylan, me and Brad were genuinely in hysterics at some of the scenes.
Wow.
Just how bad
I wish I would have watched it with you guys now.
But the thing is, with Legolas, I was saying to Brad, with Legolas, that character works because he's an elf. He's meant to be like 1,000 years old. Yeah. And he's like a weird character. In this, there's no reason for it.
In Lord of the Rings, there's a lot of weird characters. I mean,
exactly, yeah.
I mean, so we know I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan, all right? I don't dislike the films. I'm just, I'm not massive into sort of like what is it, fantasy?
Fantasy,
right? Yeah. So I'm not massive into the sort of fantasy film sort of region, right? But when I watch it and I see Frodo, and I'm just like, it just irritates me. I don't like it. I don't know.
Let's not get controversial, Brad. Let's not get cancelled in our second episode. He didn't mean to say that he didn't like Lord of the Rings.
Guys, we apologise on his behalf. Yeah,
we're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean.
Anyway, I didn't say I didn't like it. Just so we're clear, I just said that there was particular parts of the film I just really didn't.
That's fair.
Just don't ever insult Frodo again.
I think Frodo's just not a good character. But anyway,
we will find you and we will kill you. But yeah.
But another interesting thing about what Disney did with this film is that, so Orlando Bloom in the film, they've got that link to Lord of the Rings. They also released a trailer at the same time as Lord of the Rings, trying to showcase Orlando Bloom as a marketing push.
Disney, one word, Disney. That's just what they do.
Fair. I didn't think Orlando Bloom was that big, but apparently I'm wrong.
No, but when the Lord of the Rings films came out,
of course,
anyone who was in those films in 2003 is going to be big.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Disney and the.
Sorry, I have another con as well. This is related to Orlando Bloom, and this is specific for his character as well. The writing for Johnny Depp, I'm not sure how much of it was improvised, but it seemed really good, and he was really funny as well. As
Yeah.
soon as it came to Will Turner's just terrible one-liners, it was like someone else had written the film, where suddenly he just kept delivering these really clunky, awful, cheesy one-liners.
So again, I just want to pick up on this a little bit. So there's several points throughout the film where there is a bit of improvisation used.
Yeah.
And so you've got the classic ending line where Jack Sparrow says, "Bring me that horizon."
Yeah.
And that was, he thought of that. So Johnny Depp thought about that on the morning of shooting. And he just said it and put it out there, and that was a sort of like an iconic ending to the film. Also, Dylan, I'm sure you'd be happy to know that that's actually how Bring Me the Horizon got their name.
I was thinking that.
No, it's
Fair
actually
enough.
it was legit. I had to look it up when I saw the ending because I forgot this quote happened. And then I went and found out, and I was like, hold on a second, that's not the way they got their name. It's legitimately the way they got their name.
All right, so I don't like the band anymore, but anyway, we resume. Yeah.
But there was one particular part where I just knew that Orlando Bloom had started improvising, right? And that was the point where he started mimicking Jack Sparrow. Okay.
Oh yeah.
When you remember when he was on the boat and he started mimicking?
Give me a refresher.
Oh my days! Just gone, Adam.
He basically he does an impression of Jack Sparrow while he's doing it, but
no.
it's so bad. It's so cringy. It is literally like you were like 12 when you watched this film and you were doing that impression. It was really bad.
That was Orlando Bloom improvising.
It seemed like an outtake.
That was not the studio going, oh, hey, do you know what? You need to do a little impression here. He did that himself, and
he did that off his own bat.
Atrocious.
Brad, are you sure all of his lines weren't improvised? Because then that might change the film for me. Brilliant acting performance, 100% perfect.
No. So obviously we got our sort of storyline. So we start by finding a boy floating in the sea.
Yeah.
They've taken him on board. They found out his name is Will Turner.
Yeah.
And you've been introduced to Elizabeth Swan, who is the daughter of someone important.
I think he's the governor of Port Royal,
right,
where they live. Yeah, and the Commodore is like the head of the military or the head of the British India Company.
It's the Navy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But in this instance, we find in the first scene where they sort of show us the Black Pearl and sort of introduces us to that Black Pearl immediately. And they fast forward and we get to a point where we're now sort of in that's a later time. I think it's 7 or 8 years later they've taken us to.
Yeah.
We find Will, who's now working in a blacksmith, and then also you've got Elizabeth Swan, who's this high gown lady who's got this nice house, rich bitch. But so we get introduced to the pirates shortly after because there was a medallion that she had taken from Will when they found him in the ocean. And it's where this film sort of picks up in sort of a dramatic way because we get introduced to a lot of our pirate characters.
Yeah.
Now, I just wanted to say to you guys, so obviously when we got introduced to our characters, we got the Commodore, who thinks a bit of a dickhead. You've got the dad, who's a bit of just weird, isn't he?
Yeah.
Although the Commodore is David Cameron in film form.
Oh, 100%.
So when we got introduced to the pirates, I mean, like, at what point was you thinking? Because one thing I was confused about was that is there really a good and bad guy in this film? Because you don't really feel like there's a good or bad team here, do you?
They're both as bad as each other. I feel like obviously like the whole East India Company thing, not great at all.
Yeah, I mean, they were selling slaves across the Caribbean. So not a great protagonist.
Not great, but like the way they were just going about stuff. How they're like, acting all high and mighty, these pirate scum. But everything they are doing is like exactly what the pirates are doing. It's literally just almost like a class war kind of thing.
Yeah, but then I think that's good with the pirates because they're better characters because they do have sort of like humanity and there is that divine line. But again, that comes back to the problem with Orlando Bloom's character. Because the whole film he's portrayed as this almighty, never does anything wrong, he goes out of his way to save people, and he's just a really nice guy. And it's just like exactly like Legolas. They just wrote Legolas but just put a different name on it and was like, right, you're a pirate now, by the way. But Johnny Depp's character is the opposite because he's like morally bankrupt, but he's also kind of cares.
Right, just so you know, we can't go through this film without having to slate Will Turner at every point. Okay,
we do. No, we have to slate him. What he deserves.
Obviously, we had a lot of comedic couples they've tried to create. Do we feel like they've made too many in this situation, or do we feel like they've got a good balance between what was like a good comedy point and then also a good serious point?
I think personally, a lot of the comedy landed for me.
Hmm.
A lot of it, I'd say 80% of it. Like there was a few times where they're doing the jokes with. So you see the two, the British. I'm going to say British Navy people, like the kind of shorter, fat one and the taller one, and they have that partnership going on or whatever. I didn't really like them. I get they were
they
there for
weren't
a
very
reason.
funny.
Yeah, but a lot of the comedy in the movie just it landed with me. Got quite a few chuckles.
Just like some other instances, you've got the two pirates who figure quite significantly, whose names I cannot remember. Not gonna lie to you.
One was played by Mackenzie Crook. That's all I know.
Yeah.
But they were actually funny. They were
genuinely funny.
They had some good little sort of slapstick humor. I think the film was overall funny, even when it was kind of funny bad. At least it was kind of tongue in cheek, where it was like, we know this is kind of over the top, but you're still laughing. You're just along for the ride, you know.
Yeah. Also, did you guys notice how a lot of like the movie and the comedy especially was very like British? Like obviously it's about the East India Company, but a lot of the characters, which I was shook about because we were looking it up while we were watching, a lot of them are English actors. And like the comedy, the whole like physical slapsticky comedy, it's very British, and I quite like that.
It was a bit Mr. Bean, Monty
Yeah,
Python,
yeah.
Like especially with those two characters, because obviously Mackenzie Crook is from The Office, so I suppose maybe a lot of the actors had like input into the humor, maybe. You know?
Yeah.
No, so again, we got say sort of comedic couples. You've got the monkey and Barbosa as well. Again, the monkey sort of gives a bit of. Why is it with Disney love to use animals to create humor?
Yeah. Well, that's how they get the kids and the mums on board.
Yeah.
It's like,
but the one thing about this film is it was in America a PG-13, and this was the first film that Disney had released. So Walt Disney had released, not under sort of a different company, which wasn't something that was sort of a lower age category, because a PG-13 for Disney is actually quite a higher rating.
Yeah, me and you were pointing out, Brad, actually. We were like, obviously, because we watched this when we were kids, and you assume it's a kid's film. But watching back, there's a lot of murder going on in this film.
Brutal.
People getting blown up by grenades, and obviously the ship battle with people drowning and people getting shot and stabbed, you know. I appreciate that in a good kids film. You know? I like to see some murder.
I like my kids film murderous.
But that's where Disney's so sanitized now. I don't think if they were to make this film now, which apparently they are remaking it now, it's not going to be the same, because you used to appreciate those sort of like more violent kids films back in the day. I don't think they would put this out now.
No way. Nowadays, like obviously you got like all your animated movies and stuff, but all their can you name a few like of their live action movies that they've done recently? They've done the Disney remake.
But you couldn't imagine like if this film, well, when the remake comes out, I just think it's gonna be for kids, and there's gonna be hardly any violence in it, and it's gonna be watered down.
Do you know what? You bring that up. I'm pretty sure a few days ago I saw that they are remaking this movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That Karen Gillan is apparently going to be a thing.
Fucking Gillan, right? Fair. She's a good actress. Whatever. She is not fucking Jack Sparrow. She is not Johnny Depp.
You cannot make this film again without Johnny Depp. That's just a fact. The film is Johnny Depp.
Exactly. They're the same thing.
I think the point is just he's so iconic at this point, isn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah. You can't take him out of the character. If you take him out of the character, it's not the film.
Yeah, I suppose they're gonna do like a Star Wars thing where maybe he's like an old aging pirate, and there's a new person in town.
Oh,
it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad.
Oh my god!
Calm down.
No, I'm gonna cry.
So moving further on, so they've captured Elizabeth because she has a hold of the gold coin that they're after, and we've got Captain Jack, who's at this point. How would we describe Captain Jack at this point?
He's kind of up until that point, you don't really know. You know that he's there. He's supposed to be, a big captain guy, but he's kind of just slapsticky comedy rolling about kind of existing up until this point.
He's the drunken rogue at
Yeah.
first, but then the more the film goes on, I think the more personality comes through, and there's like different sides of him where he's basically just bullshitting the whole film.
Yeah. So up until this point, he's just like a bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
Trying to find his way
But
to his
really,
ship.
he's probably the smartest guy out of all of them.
Yeah.
But really, what we're trying to figure out is what his motivation is, because there's a reason he's trying to do everything he's doing.
Yeah.
And we soon find out is that what he's really after is to get his ship back, which is the Black Pearl. And he is known for being the captain of the Black Pearl.
Yeah.
And as we move through the film a little bit, we find that he switches from side to side to try and get the way he wants. And eventually he sort of picks a side, but you're still unsure on which way he's meant to be morally reliant on.
Yeah.
But let's say we found our Jack Sparrow. He's after the Black Pearl. He's come in. He's trying to get his ship back. Barbossa is the man who's the real villain here. He's trying to stop you from getting where you want to get to. But Barbossa's real intention is he wants to take the gold coin. He wants to go back to the treasure island. He wants to give the coin back. He wants to spill the blood of the person who's lost to have it. And then he wants to become human again, because the whole point of it is they are cursed.
And I really like that aspect of his character, actually, because he was like talking about all he wants is to just taste an apple again, because they can't feel anything, and he's like he would rather die than like be in his cursed state, because he just can't feel, basically,
because he's just nothing.
Well, the interesting thing about that apple is that was actually quite significant, because Geoffrey Rush is Australian. And the apple, an Australian apple. So again, strangely, they wanted to make that Australian reference. I don't know whether that was Disney trying to pull a few punches in Australia. I don't know, but again,
that's such an odd thing to think of.
Again, it's just a marketing ploy, isn't it? I mean, the more you think about this film, it's the more you realize that there's more and more marketing that they've tried to do in this film subliminally to try and get you to actually buy the film.
But I think what separates this film from other Disney films that are just pure products is the director, because you can tell Gore Verbinski put a lot of effort into this film with the different sets, and like there was some CGI in the film. Obviously, it's 2003, the CGI was really good with the like dead sailors. That didn't look too aged at all, but all of the boats and all the ports and the like set pieces, most of that was practical, which you definitely wouldn't see in a Disney product today. So you can tell they put a lot of effort into this one, where the sequels that definitely dropped away. The film has a heart to it.
Yeah, I'm just reading now. The budget for this film was 140 million, which is insane as it is. I think they've done well with that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and then the sequels got more and more bloated, where I think the third film is the most expensive film ever made. And I'm sure this film, if you watched it back, is probably better than that film anyway, you know?
But again, that's the money they made from these films. It sort of puts it into perspective, because it is one of the top 10 grossing franchises of all time.
Yeah.
Until I think you get to the fourth one, which flopped, and then they decided not to do them anymore.
That's the thing. So from the fourth and then the fifth one happened all the controversy about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Because the only reason I didn't watch the last two was because I was under the assumption that Johnny Depp was a bad person. But you know, I'm going to watch them tonight purely because obviously everything's come out how it has.
Yeah, obviously we don't want to touch upon those controversial topics too much.
Yeah.
Right, can we fast forward towards the end then?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have some things to say about the end of the film.
So you're talking about significantly the ending where the British have surrounded them, and the dead who are trying to come back to life are then told by Jack Sparrow they are surrounded. So at which point they go and fight the British. Yeah,
so I think that whole set piece at the end was really well done, and it was just like good, exciting, swashbuckling fun, you know. But I want to talk afterwards specifically about like the final 5 minutes of this film.
Okay, can you go through that?
So the last 5 minutes, I think up until that point, the film with all of the double crosses and the action scenes that were like really exciting and quite different to what you'd normally see. Like there was a lot of thought put into how the action scenes occurred. And then you get to the end, and obviously Johnny Depp is about to be hung, even though he helped them.
Oh,
The
right.
British are
Yeah.
still going to hang him. And then from that point on, the ending of the film is so cheesy and doesn't
Oh,
really make sense.
is this the scene where what's his name? Orlando Bloom jumps over to help him and throws
Yeah.
the sword that he did in the first scene.
Hmm.
And oh, okay. Yeah.
So, did either of you, I'll start with Brad,
Go
find
on.
the ending just really unbelievable?
It was definitely a change up on the rest of the film, wasn't it? I mean, we had
It's
the sort of glimpses of the romance. We had the glimpses of the romance, but it just seemed I'm not gonna say out of place because Disney are going to do a happy ever after story, aren't they? But it just seems strange how the mood turned from Jack Sparrow getting hung to then allowing him to get away, and they've got a completely like a different love story going on when she was meant to marry the Commodore. So
That's what I was getting at, yeah. So the basically the end, the Commodore is about to hang Jack Sparrow for the crimes he's committed, and the dad's like all up for it. And obviously Orlando Bloom's character, they don't want him involved. As soon as Orlando Bloom saves Johnny Depp and Elizabeth Swann decides now to tell her fiance, the Commodore, that she's in love with Will instead, they have a nice little kiss, and then Jack Sparrow is like, "Oh yeah, I'm with them, by the way." And then immediately the Commodore just says, "Okay then, no problem." And then they just let Johnny Depp get away. He flies off on his boat, and now the two are in love. And all of the problems that they'd set up throughout the whole film just
is just
disappear in that end. It's
damn.
really cheesy, and they obviously tried to put in a nice little bow at the end, so like they
Yeah.
can get the sequel bait in there, and everyone's happy, and all the characters got what they wanted. But the character motivations make no sense at all.
I feel like they almost I don't want to say they needed to. Maybe they came up with an ending and it wasn't Disney enough
Mm.
for Disney, and maybe they just had to change it like last minute kind of thing.
Potentially, this ending feels very Disney Channel. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
here's a happy ending, guys. Whereas
yeah,
the rest of the film didn't really have that tone.
exactly.
so I was reading earlier that the one of the plot lines suggested by the writers when they initially wrote this was that they wanted the Commodore and the Captain Barbosa to team up because the Commodore got rejected initially by Elizabeth Swann. So instead of
Right.
being the Commodore of the British Isle, he decided to go on board with pirates and start having a sort of frenzy.
See,
What
I
the
would have loved that because at least that
Mm.
motivation makes sense for that character. That character was painted as an antagonist the whole film, and then suddenly at the
yeah.
end, he's just like, "Oh look, my fiance's ran off with her childhood friend. That's fine. Oh, this pirate who I was about to hang 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah,
my friend now too. Carry on." It didn't make
yeah, you're
sense.
right. Again, it might have been the writing, but it may have been Disney twisting
Yeah.
their arm kind of thing. It's like, oh, we can't leave it. Maybe they wanted to do something where they'd leave it on an open cliffhanger of like
Mm,
him just hanging, not hanging, but getting ready to be hung or something. I don't know. Because if they would have
yeah.
just left it as him, he's got the noose there, and then cut,
That would be
that
amazing.
would have.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's not Disney enough. It's
I
not
mean, that
No.
would have been far too dark for a Disney film. Let's face it.
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm.
But then again, if it's 12A,
Mm.
then
But that's what I'm
if you,
talking about. I definitely feel like the ending was not the director's choice.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
That was
100%
definitely
not.
Disney executives going like, "We need to have a little happy ending here, by the way. Here's your money. Don't
Yeah,
talk back."
yeah,
Shut up and sit down.
Yeah,
yeah.
classic Disney.
Don't talk to the mouse.
It's like, where's that 6ix9ine meme? It's like, you're a little boy to me. You're a little boy.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Right.
But yeah,
So do we want to talk about our sort of overall feelings on the film then? Now we've discussed a lot of the pros and cons.
Yeah, Dylan, you can start with this.
I'll start. Okay. So overall, I think the movie for me was very, very good. It really holds up. It's not
Mm,
one of those kids films that you have watched in your younger years where you go back now and go, oh, that was a bit shit. It's one of those movies where it whatever you were thinking it was in your head, it was. Do you know what I mean? So
mm,
like I think overall, incredible movie. I think from start to finish, it was gripping. Like there was no point in that movie where obviously it slowed down in bits, but it wasn't slow enough to like drag the story. Everything in the movie happened for a reason, and it moved the story along. You know?
Yeah, it's quite a long film. It's like 2.5
Yeah.
hours long, isn't it? But it
Yeah.
didn't really feel its length that much.
No, it was. You sat down, you put it on, and you're just watching it. So yeah,
It was thoroughly entertaining.
honestly, very entertaining. Looked incredible. Holds up. I'm one of those people. Now, a lot of people. This is controversial. I will say I don't like old movies, and for me, like 2003 is pretty old. Okay, for me,
Right.
but but it really does hold up. It's really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, start to finish. Well, start to the last 5 minutes.
Suppose I'll say my thoughts and then
Yeah, go
we'll
on.
go with Brad at the end. So
Yeah,
as I said, I've got criticisms of the film with
of
certain
course.
aspects that don't hold up, like Orlando Bloom's terrible acting, which that was distracting, but it kind of made the film funnier for me and Brad anyway. We were just
Yeah,
laughing. We were laughing at those scenes, but then there were scenes that we were laughing along with. And I think the ending is just cheesy Disney like garbage, but that's kind of what you'd expect. But up until that point, the film's just loads of fun. It's just thoroughly entertaining the whole way. And Johnny Depp is brilliant in this film. This is probably one of his best performances because, as you said, he's so iconic. And every time he's on screen, you're entertained because he's just so charismatic. And yeah, like we mentioned it before, the soundtrack to this film is brilliant.
Yeah,
One of those iconic soundtracks.
Another thing we noticed about the soundtrack was that in several fight scenes, the soundtrack actually moved with the sound of the swords as well. So
Yeah.
you got the
Oh,
point
wow.
when did you notice, Dylan, when they were in the barn and
Right.
Will and Jack are meeting for the first time, they're having a sword fight.
Yeah.
There was parts of the time when they were having the fight, when they were clashing swords, that the music was playing at the same time.
Damn, I didn't notice that. That's like a nice little subtle. Yeah, I like that. I didn't notice that at all.
It's
But
sort of like added for dramatic effect, but at the same time, I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I'm sure it was on purpose, but
yeah, of course.
Well, this film is just very creative. That's what I mean about they put a lot of effort. They didn't need
Yeah.
to do that to make that scene
Of
interesting,
course.
but they threw in those little elements that you notice while you're watching it. And all of the action scenes were really creative and
Yeah.
really exciting. And
Yeah.
yeah, most of the performances were really good as well. So
Mm.
yeah, as you said, Dylan, I agree. It does hold up.
Yeah.
And it is better than I remembered it.
yeah. So I'll finish with saying that I was thoroughly entertained. I won't say I'd say the film throughout kept me entertained. Just the significant issue is Orlando Bloom's acting, and to a degree, Keira Knightley as well.
I didn't think she was bad.
She wasn't as bad. She served the
Yeah.
purpose.
She wasn't as bad, but again, there was. I mean, I feel like the scenes that she was good in were the scenes where she interacted with Jack.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could have just been how good Johnny Depp is. So
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So for me, when she was doing scenes with Orlando Bloom, they felt weak to me.
Fair.
I mentioned earlier the scene where she did Jeffrey Rush and Barbosa, and they're on the ship and they're having this little confrontation moment. I felt like that was a really good moment. But I feel like the scenes she shared with people that weren't title characters weren't as good. So yeah, for me, thoroughly entertaining, but some of the acting really lets it down for me.
Okay.
So overall, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Okay.
What about you, Dylan? What would you rate it?
I'm giving this a 4.
4 out of 5?
This is a 4. This is a 4 out of 5 purely because overall it was incredible. I really enjoyed it. It was, again, like you said, Adam, a lot better than I remembered it to be. And even as like a 23-year-old, I was entertained, sitting there entertained.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 out of 5 for me.
I agree with Dylan actually. Yeah, 4 out of 5. My original rating on Letterboxd, just from memory, but obviously I hadn't watched it for about 10 years, was 3.5. But Orlando Bloom's acting, I'm not detracting any points because I just found it funny anyway, so that made it more entertaining. And yeah, it was like a better script and better set design and better directing than I remembered. So yeah, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I'd watch this film again like in a week's time and I'd still probably be entertained. So.
My issue is just it's solely with Orlando Bloom at this point, because if he was not in the film, it would have been a higher rated film.
See, I don't find it annoying. I just find it funny.
Yeah, almost adds to it.
Yeah, it is a bad aspect of the film.
Like I said, when we was watching it, we was like, if you're laughing at someone acting when they're supposed to be serious, I feel like then you're not doing a good job.
True.
The point we made with other films before is that if it's a bad film and you're laughing at it, it's intentional because it's just a bad film, right? This is not a bad film. Therefore, the laughing at someone should not be there. So for me, that really lets the film down.
That's fair.
Okay, so that is Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of Black Pearl.
Thank you for that, Brad. Discussion. Honestly.
Yeah, good recommendation, Brad.
Really good. Solid.
So Dylan, here's where it gets a bit more controversial. So Dylan, if you want to introduce our album recommendation this week.
Okay, so the album we listened to this week was by a small band, very indie, very unknown, called Arctic Monkeys. And it's their latest album. Came out, I think, 2 years ago, almost to the day. Tranquillity Base Hotel and Casino.
Very catchy title there, obviously. I'm not sure how I'm going to fit this episode in the thumbnail or like the title when we release this, but we'll see what we can
think about that. Yeah, so I chose this album. So the day it came out, I remember this very, very clearly. So this is when I was living with you guys. It was midnight. It came out. This was during dissertation, this is just after dissertation. I was chilling out. I was ready. I've been wanting some new music from Arctic Monkeys. So it came out. I got on the phone with my girlfriend and we listened to it. And after about 4 minutes, we were in hysterics. We didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So I haven't listened to this album since that day. So I kind of wanted to listen to it to kind of see if it was that bad. Now, spoilers. I didn't like the album. Yeah, so I also wanted to listen to what Adam thought of this, because Adam has strong opinions on music.
Just to be clear on something, okay? So for me and Adam, the early Arctic Monkey stuff are some of the best albums we've listened to, right?
Agreed. Yes.
And it's...
while Brad's gathering himself, I'll say what I thought about this recommendation.
Yes, go on.
Okay, so I used to be a proper little indie Cindy Lego haircut, right? And I used to listen to Arctic Monkeys every day. Favorite Worst Nightmare and the first album are like classic albums to me. They're like some of my favorite albums of all time. I've probably listened to that second album more than any other album when I was growing up.
Wow.
I used to love Arctic Monkeys, okay? Wow. And then Humbug came out and it was still good. I was like, I'm still feeling Arctic Monkeys. Yeah. And then Suck It and See came out and I was like, this album's kind of bad, you know? Like, I still love Arctic Monkeys, but this album's not great. AM came out and there's like 3 very, very good songs on AM, but the rest of the album I don't really like. So I was like, you know what? They might be back to it. You know, next album after this one, they take like those great songs, those bangers. They run with it. We're back. Arctic Monkeys are back. Here we go. Here we go.
Exactly.
Then I heard about this album, and I heard the first single from this album, which I believe was 4 out of 5. And I took it upon myself to never, ever listen to this album because I did not want to taint my image of Arctic Monkeys, right?
No.
I genuinely thought if I listened to this album, I would not want to go back and listen to those original albums that I love so much because this album was going to be so bad, right?
I'm sorry.
Why did you do this to me, Dylan? Why did you do this?
I'm sorry. Right.
I just need to add the general reception to this album was good. People enjoyed this album. Okay. So coming from 3 guys here who, I mean, I don't know everyone's full version of events just yet, but me personally, right? I love the early Arctic Monkey stuff. I enjoyed Humbug. I enjoyed Suck It and See. I even enjoyed AM, right? Okay, I enjoyed all
Yeah.
those albums. Okay, so
Yeah.
listening to this is fucking mind blowing.
But do you know what? That is the
Fucking
perfect
mind blowing,
description.
right?
Perfect description.
I don't have any more words to say on that right now.
I
Yeah.
think I have a. You say that's a perfect description. I think I have a better
Go on.
description anyway. It's like if you took a Beatles album, a David Bowie album, a Quotzer album, a Kraftwerk album, and about 10 different jazz albums. You threw them into a blender and then you just poured that onto the ground and went, right, that's our album done, boys. Let's turn that in. It was a
Yeah.
mess. It was an absolute mess and a disaster. And it's one of the most painful things I've ever listened to.
That's fair. See, from my experience, I got into Arctic Monkeys very late. Like as soon as AM came out, that's when I started listening to them. So AM
Right.
was my first album. So I was expecting just fucking good, just kind of heavy, fast, good music.
Do you
That's
know
what I was expecting.
Dylan, do you know I think this could have made this worse for us? Is that we have both
What?
seen Arctic Monkeys live.
Yes.
Right? And we had
Yes.
seen them before this album had been released.
Yes.
So
Oh my god.
I was putting that into perspective as well, right?
hmm
Because when I saw them, my personal opinion was they were incredible. They were so good.
Unbelievable.
They were so
5 out of
good.
5. 100%.
But Brad, right? You say they were incredible, but they didn't play Bat Phone live. So how good could it be?
We haven't moved on
Right.
to leave off. Let's
Right.
Right. I
Right.
think we need to move on to track by
Yeah.
track.
Okay. I'll take the lead on this. So just a small precursor to this. When I listen to music, I'm not a lyrics person. Okay. But I made sure.
Oh, really? You say so?
But I made sure I listened to this album very carefully. Okay. And I regret it. And I'm never listening to lyrics again. So let's start with the first song on the album. Okay.
Yep.
This is the album's come out. This is the first song you listen to. Star Treatment. Okay. Adam, I'm gonna start with you. Okay. So you obviously hadn't heard this song. Okay.
No, so I've never heard any of these songs apart from 4 out of 5, which
Yeah.
I expunged from my memory anyway.
So what was the experience of that first song for you? Like when you listened to it recently?
So first song, right? This was not as bad as I was expecting. I'll start by saying that. Okay. So I've got my notes on every song. So I said I don't mind the music, don't mind the instrumental, but the lyrics are terrible. Right. The lyrics are drunk, rambling, meandering nonsense.
Oh my
Literally.
god.
The
Wow.
opening line of the entire album,
Uh-huh.
the opening line on this Arctic Monkeys album is I want to be one of the Strokes, or I've always wanted to be one of the Strokes.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot more sense now. But this song was not as bad as what's to come because I like the strings and the backing vocals. And if that instrumental was taken alone and you removed all of the vocals and put someone else on it who's not just talking absolute shit, then it would have been all right. It wouldn't have been great, but it would have been all right.
Honestly, I wrote pretty much almost word for word exactly what you said. So I said right out the gate, I was intrigued because it wasn't something I've heard from them before, up until he opened his mouth.
Yep.
And then from there on, it was again completely different from anything that I've ever heard from them.
So can we just save time before we move on through all of the track lists?
Yes.
Every single lyric on this album is terrible. We can say that.
Everything.
There's not one song with good lyrics.
There's one thing about Arctic Monkeys is that you've always, when you ever listen to Arctic Monkeys, the lyrics don't necessarily make sense. Okay, right?
Yeah.
Because
they used to.
It's meant to be indie. It's meant to be interesting.
Yeah. A lot of it was very clever metaphors.
I mean, I was thinking back to something like Crying Lightning.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm saying something like Crying Lightning. I remember that song started talking about like you were practicing a magic trick by a cracker factory, and you're like, okay, this is interesting. I don't know where it's going, right? This didn't have me interested at all. Okay,
no.
Exactly.
I was not interested, not even vaguely. Okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
My first opinions of the song, right, is that this first song is 6 minutes long. The intro never ended.
Yeah.
The intro just carried on throughout the entire album. I'm not even joking. Like literally, right? The intro to the end of the 40-minute long album never ended.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? It was fucking boring.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was fucking boring.
No,
right?
actually, I disagree, Brad. This song
Yeah.
was not boring. It was annoying, which is different from some of the other songs.
Because right,
Yeah.
so the significant point of this song, right, which was the most annoying part, was that
Yeah.
his vocals had an echo on them, right, which I genuinely could not stand. Right,
Fair.
Right.
like, it was. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. I'm at that point
Right.
already.
One
Okay.
song in.
Okay.
Perfect.
One song in. Right. We're going
Number
good. We're going
two.
good. Right. Number 2, 1 point perspective. So I wrote a lot about this album, but I didn't really say much about this. All I really thought the entire time was they're going for a call center like hold song. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
No.
background noise and right, go on, Adam, go on.
This song, off-putting start straight off the bat. I was like,
Fair.
this sounds terrible. Why are they starting like this?
Mm-hmm.
Repetitive piano keys. Okay, this
I've mentioned
song
that a lot.
was incredibly annoying because there was the same piano keys, 2 notes over and over again for the entire song. It was just dun 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 the whole
I think the piano throughout the entire album is atrocious.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Throughout the entire album, not just this song.
Yeah.
Because I have also noted that the piano in this song was awful. Okay,
It's like your uncle's got drunk at like a party and he's pulled out his keyboard and he's just mashing the keys and you have no idea what it's meant to mean.
Exactly. It's Christmas. He's had a few brandies, and now he thinks he's Stevie Wonder. Yeah.
Carry on, Brad. Any other thoughts on this song?
I want to move on.
Do you know what? No, because the one. Because I said to Adam at some, because I've already listened to this album before, right? So I already knew what I was walking into. And the one thing I took out of this album was that I enjoyed some of the bass lines. Okay. Some of the bass lines were quite funky, had a good hit to them, right? They were completely drowned out in most songs by annoying piano and fucking stupid synths, right?
Yeah.
And the vocals and like 10 different vocal lines going on at once.
Yeah.
Also, this song, I just wanted to mention, he's singing off beat for pretty much almost all of the songs on this album. There's sections where he's not singing in time with the rest of the band, and each line is just a different like vocal harmony. Like, he just say something and then pause for a bit and then start saying something else off beat. And you're just like, what is he talking about right now? What is he talking about? I said that about 25 times during this album.
Hold that thought.
Right.
Because we're moving on to number 3, American Sports.
Oh, yes.
Now, here's the thing.
Right.
I wrote, it's 3 songs in and I wanted to jump out my 7-story building, right? I wrote down, bro, I don't understand why all the songs he's just fucking talking ?
Yes.
I don't get what he's talking about in like at all. Then he goes on to say that he needs a battery pack to FaceTime God.
Right.
And then he goes on to say that he needed something because his VR headset wasn't working.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
and
see, now the album makes sense to me. Now
exactly.
you say that.
It does make sense now because we now know that he took all of the drugs, all of them, and just wrote whatever came to his head. And
I suppose we should preface this whole album review with the fact that Alex Turner is clearly on a lot of drugs.
All of the drugs.
All of the drugs, yeah. So can I say what I thought of this song?
Please.
Right. This song, I rated each song individually. This song got a 2 out of 10. It only got an extra point because it was quite short. Okay. This song was absolutely terrible. I said it was like a Bowie tribute band that had just met. He was trying to sound like David Bowie the whole time.
Oh no.
It was like jazzy, and I said this is another consistent thing for the whole album. everyone is playing a different song.
Oh,
Everyone in the
shit.
band is playing a different song. So you might be listening to the guitar and you'll be like, oh, this guitar bit sounds quite nice. And then you realise
God.
that it's a different song to what the rest of the band do.
Bro, that's blown my mind.
Literally.
That actually kind of makes a little bit of sense.
It's like they edited it and then accidentally fucked up the sync where it's like 20 seconds out for each person.
Damn. Yeah. Can I just say that we're to the viewers, we're on camera right now, and I can see that Brad has already just lost all his will to live.
Literally,
Like,
the
yeah,
colour has
anyway.
drained out of his face.
At this
He looks
point,
miserable.
at this point in the album, all I had wrote down was, why are they doing this?
Yeah. Do you know what? That is why.
That
Right.
is, yeah.
Because I had nothing more to say about that track than that. That's all I had to say about it.
It is quite possibly one of the worst songs I've ever heard.
Oh, no.
But
There's definitely
it
worse
is
on this
short.
album.
No, we'll get there.
There
We'll
is
get
worse
there.
on this
Dylan.
album, don't you worry.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So let's move on. So here we are. We're at the song that the title song, Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino.
Mhm.
Okay. So I said, so the title song can't be that bad, but it was. The whole vibes kind of shifted to what I can only describe as like American cowboy western movie / love movie kind of soundtrack that plays at the back of the movie.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Another issue, right?
Yeah.
Just to bring up is that at no point did any song on this album pick up.
No.
Everything was
These songs
so
changed, but they didn't like escalate. They were just different songs.
Here's what I'm saying by the intro never ended, is that they never picked up at any point.
Yeah.
All the songs, the chorus, the verses, they all stayed flat.
I'm just going to add to this song, right, is that the one thing, the vocals, right, on this particular song were just atrocious.
Yeah.
They were appalling. The piano, again, just so damn boring. They were not creative in the slightest. But the bass line was all right.
Yeah. Right. What I said for this song is like it was better than the last two songs. Okay.
Yeah.
But like we're still in low territory here. I said too much going on, right? Because it felt like there was a song in there trying to get out and they were just drowning it with bullshit, basically. And I said, positive was the dark sounding bass. I at least appreciated that the bass was like different from the tracks that had come before. This song sounded a bit darker. But also, another positive, there was Zelda noises going on in the background. I'm sure there was like some weird like Zelda gem noises going on in the background where someone was playing their Nintendo while they were recording and they just forgot to take it out. So I don't know.
They were bored, bro. They were bored.
But that's a positive, right? I am clutching for straws here. But that was a
positive in that song was that there may or may not have been a Zelda noise.
There was
in the song.
Nintendo sounding noises. 10 out of 10.
Okay. Okay. We'll move on swiftly to number 5, Golden Trunks.
Right.
So the start of the song had potential. I was listening to it. I was like, okay, so it's gonna go somewhere. It's the intro led me to believe that there may be like a tempo shift or something, and then I was wrong. It got slower and shitter.
Yeah.
And then I wrote, why is the whole album played on a fucking piano? What are the lyrics? What is anything about? Is music real anymore? And then I ended up with saying the music up until now sounds like if Grease the musical had shit music.
Yes.
Like it's very American diner music. Like drowning out in the background. Like you're watching your big Hollywood movie, your stars are in their diner eating pancakes, and you've got Arctic Monkeys playing. That's what it sounds like.
Let me be a little bit more positive, okay? We're being very negative right now.
Okay, yeah.
Right. This song was okay to me, all right?
Okay.
The distorted guitar at the start, I liked. And I like the dark sound. As you said, the intro, it had me kind of like, there was a slight inkling. There was like a 10% inkling where I was like, is this song going to be good? It reminded
Yeah.
me a bit of old Arctic Monkeys, and there was
Yeah.
a tiny, tiny bit of hope, and
Yeah.
then it just was meh, and it was just boring. It just got boring very quickly. I
Yeah.
like the recurring riff, but other than that, the rest of the song was terrible. The vocals were terrible again, and
Yeah.
it was just bad.
Yeah. Brad, what about you, bro?
Yeah, this for me, this for me was the best song on the album, right?
Oh my god.
And it was
Okay.
shit.
This was my
Yeah.
second favorite, yeah. But as I
This was
said, that
my
was because it was meh.
wow.
It was just boring.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm going to use this sort of word for every track on the album, but it was
Yeah.
boring.
There's nothing more to say. I was
Yeah.
hoping there'd be more to this
Do you know
album.
even with slow songs, okay, which people could consider boring, right? They have some
Yeah.
character to them. They have some sort of
Mm.
development to it, you know? There's some sort of good vocal performance, right? This doesn't have
Yeah.
any of that.
There's no
The
redeeming
thing
factors.
is, Brad, on that point, with those songs, at least there's a melody. Where are the melodies in this album?
Yeah.
Because they're just like, oh, 5 seconds of do this, and then I'm bored of that now. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
And it was just meandering. It was just nonsense. You couldn't grasp anything unless it was like a 10-second guitar riff.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's move on. Song number 6, 4 out of 5. Now, Adam, you said you listened to this song. No, so I'm gonna say that for me personally, this was
Right.
now I'm gonna say this very, very loosely. This was the best song on the album for me, but by
Debatable,
all
but yeah.
means, it does not make it good at all.
Mm.
I said it's their best song on the album, but it's not good. It sounds kind of like their old music. It had hints,
Yes.
little hints here and there of like ye olde Arctic Monkeys, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's leaps and bounds from anything I'd ever consider good music.
Right, so
'Cause
here's my thing
boring.
with this song. What you're saying there, where there was hints of what
Yeah.
used to be their good music, right?
Yeah.
That was the first half. I
Yeah.
somewhat enjoyed the first half. So I think like the first 3 minutes, because this song's like 5.5 minutes long, I think, right?
Yeah.
With the good guitaring, like there was actually some like technical guitaring going on, and again there
Yeah.
was a good bass line. And then as soon as it switches, it gets bad, and it sounded like a bad Pink Floyd song.
Oh, yeah.
But the first half, Clutching at Straws, was like a bad song. If it was on another album, you'd be like, yeah, it's a bit filler. But then the second half was again just like basically unlistenable. It was just bad.
Brad, what about you, bro?
So, do we remember the song Cornerstone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like at this point is that they tried to take that song, right, and morph it into something they could just destroy in every track on this album by this
Oh
point.
my god.
Right? And I felt like this song had the most relation to it. Okay.
Okay.
Because he's at least trying to sing on this song, but it's still just coming out badly, right?
Yeah.
And it's just for me coming across pretentious.
100%.
Oh god, this entire album is just him thinking that he doesn't need to make good music anymore. He can just make whatever and people lap it up.
Can I just make a point where this just shows the like pretentiousness of this album? This album is apparently a concept album about a hotel on the moon. Now, did you get that while you was listening to this, or did you just think he was talking bollocks because it was the latter?
Out of his bumhole.
Literally.
The entire time.
For me, right, the weirdest part of the song was that it sounded like he was trying to sing like he was Stewie from Family Guy.
Oh, Brad.
Especially when he was doing the bit where he's like, take it easy for a little while.
Oh no, wait, I won't. I'm not listening to this again.
I was just shook.
That's good.
No, just the song's bad.
So you rate that song Stewie out of 5. Got it. Okay. So number 7. Now here we go. Here we go. Number 7. The world's first monster truck front flip.
No, sorry, the world's first ever monster truck front flip.
What did you think of the world's first ever monster truck front flip song?
I didn't understand. Because is this meant to be a slow song?
Don't ask me.
Is it meant to be
meant to
are you
be
meant to like
anything?
dance to this?
I'm not sure, Brad.
Like I don't. Is this something you're meant to play at a wedding when people can slow dance to? I was trying to. The one thing I was trying to find with this song is that in what setting would you listen to it?
Right, Brad. I
Yeah.
can answer that
Okay,
question.
cool.
Go on.
Okay. Have you two ever heard of Metronomy?
No.
I think I have.
Right.
Yeah.
So Metronomy released an album called The English Riviera. Okay. And the album is basically like a homage to like 60s British seaside culture. So you know you've got like the organ music and like what you would hear when you're at a fair at the beach.
Okay, yeah.
The album's like that, but that album is very good. It's like very nostalgic and musically very good, right? This sounds like they heard that album and they were like, oh, we can do that because this sounded like bad beach music with the repetitive organs. And it sounded just like a really bad imitation of Metronomy.
You're telling me that I'm supposed to listen to this song on the beach?
I'm saying that's what they wanted you to do.
Because that's not the vibe I was getting at all.
One thing I wanted to bring up just there with what you said, Brad. So when do you listen to this? Now, I just want to ask, when would an opportunity ever arise where you could play this live at one of their gigs? Their music is like, their gigs are so high energy. They've got anthems, you know? And then every single song on this fucking album just falls flat, and it feels like a funeral the entire time.
See, Dylan, the answer to that is that Arctic Monkeys fans don't care because they're so pretentious and up their own arse that they won't accept that this album is terrible. That's proved by the reviews.
100%. I know a lot of people who defend this to their death, that this album is good, but
it's not even objectively good. I'm not sure you could even take one aspect of this and be like, okay, I didn't feel that, but I saw what they were going for.
Yeah.
This album is shockingly bad. But if they play it live, people will still love it.
Just so clear, we've not reached the worst song
No,
yet.
we have not. We've definitely not.
No. So, number 8, science fiction. Now, we've got 8, 9, 10, and 11 to go. Okay, so stick with us, audience. Okay, so science fiction.
Can I say
Track
what I
number
felt
8.
about science fiction?
Please.
Okay. I thought this was the best song on the album. And my reasoning for that is this is the only song on the entire album that I thought followed a theme. Okay. The theme was science fiction, B-movie. We're going to make it sound like there's all these weird science fiction noises going. It's very nostalgic. But it at least stuck to that the entire song, right? And I didn't mind the darker tone again and the little guitar chords and the alien noises. I didn't mind this song in comparison to what I'd heard before.
Okay. Fair enough. Brad?
Okay. I thought this song belonged in a Mario Kart game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? It sounds like you should like play this song when you go for like Boo's Castle or some shit.
Maybe that's why I like it then. Maybe that's why I like it more than the rest.
Yeah. Again, this goes back to the Nintendo sound.
I didn't mind the like B-movie aesthetic of it. Like I felt like they were at least in on the joke on this one to an extent.
Yeah, that's fair.
No.
What about you, Dylan?
My thoughts is I had no thoughts on this song.
Right.
Genuinely, this song exists, and I'm upset that it exists because it added nothing to my life.
But importantly, and this is why I said it's the best song on the album, it didn't negatively affect your life.
Yeah, it existed on a plane that just doesn't interact with my plane of existence.
The other songs, they invaded your existence and they stabbed you multiple times.
They shat on my existence. They did. Right. Let's move on to track number 9, or number 9, I should say. She Looks Like Fun. Okay.
I'm starting, okay?
Right. Go.
This is the worst song on the album. This is by far, actually, no, not even on this album. This is one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. Okay? Right?
Preach.
Okay.
Preach.
No, I'm not even being dramatic on this song either, right? It's genuinely awful. Okay. Whose mind thought of this chorus?
Alex Turner.
Alex Turner, right? I don't know what he was taking at this point, right?
Someone gave him a lobotomy. 100%.
It sounds like, right, he went into like a circus, right, and thought, hey, do you know what would be a good track to play here, right? She looks like fun. She looks like fun. I would not. I just didn't understand. Maybe I'm just not one of these pretentious dickheads that likes this Arctic Monkeys album, right? Maybe call me a hater, right? Cool, you do you. Right? But this track is one of the biggest pieces of shit I've ever heard in my life.
Right,
Brad.
Yeah, that's all I've
I 100% disagree. No, I'm joking. I 100% agree with what you just said.
My God.
But with one caveat, this is not the worst song I've ever heard.
Okay.
Because the song after this song is the worst song I've ever heard in my entire life. But this one was the second worst song I've ever heard in my entire life. I wrote down for this one, right?
Fair.
At this point, this was when I took my headphones out halfway through the song, just sat there in silence, dropped my notebook on the floor, and I just didn't have the energy to pick it up and write these notes. But I forced myself to, just because we were doing this.
Okay.
The fact that I got to this track is just because we were talking about on this podcast, because I would have stopped it a long time ago, right? I wrote down awful vocals, right? That goes without saying. Mm-hmm. Trying to be quotesy, but like really, really bad. A random collection of 20 different influences, right? It was like 20 songs that they recorded and just mashed together. A mess and unlistenable, just purely unlistenable. I never want to hear this again. It was genuinely painful to sit through.
No, don't ever want to. I don't ever want to even have this pass me again.
Now, let me add to that. So, when I was listening to this entire album, I was just writing down my thoughts, just as I thought it. So I'm just going to read you what I wrote, okay? So my first reaction was that I laughed out loud. I don't remember listening to this song. Did my brain erase this song from my brain due to the trauma? I don't understand what the song is doing. It keeps chopping and changing from the dumb, she looks like fun Batman voice to a funky bass line. And we're 2 minutes in now, and there's a bit of guitar twang out of nowhere, ? And now it's all happy in the end. I don't know. Full stop.
Can I just add to that point of, did your brain erase this? Me and Brad said, day after I listened to this album, can you remember any of the songs? And I cannot remember one single melody or riff or sound. I just remember there were Zelda noises. That's it. The rest, my brain like couldn't comprehend, so it had to filter it out and was just like, bro, I'm doing this for you. You don't want to remember this.
Yeah, my brain honestly just attacked itself, and I'm happy that my brain exists. Right, Adam, we will move on to track number 10.
My favourite song on the album.
Your favourite song?
This song, I don't even know what to say about this song. I mean, I wrote so many notes. I had to start a new page because I was just furiously scribbling stuff down while I was listening to this. Just out of anger, right? I wrote random, jazzy mess, just pick one melody, ! Too dense. That's in multiple facets.
Yeah.
My brain can't keep up. I felt like I was having a seizure during this song and I couldn't comprehend what was happening. I was like a minute in and I thought it had been like an hour. And then vocals painfully annoying, and then just make it stop. That was my opinions on Bat Phone.
Okay. Yes. Brad, please take it away, please.
I just said, why is this 4.5 minutes long?
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Yeah. 4.5 minutes. This is why this song is worse than She Looks Like Fun. It felt like an eternity.
It was. I didn't understand the message behind it.
There was no message. The song's called Bat Phone.
The only thing I wrote down for this was pink flamingo and panoramic windows. Boy was spitting. That's what I wrote. That's what my brain could
Bro,
muster from this.
that's a bar.
He was rhyming shit with shit.
Yeah.
And I am gonna move on now because the last song, the Ultra Cheese, right? So, Brad, you just sighed there. So I'll let you be the one to end this. What was your thoughts on this?
I thought, right, that maybe, just maybe, at the end of the album, they might even try and pick it up a little bit. They might try and close the show, to say, yeah? They might think, do you know what, we've given them 10 tracks of slow songs, right? Maybe we can up the tempo a little bit. Maybe the vocals could just not be awful. Maybe put an influence in there that makes sense, right?
So naive.
There was none of that in this.
No.
There was none of that, right?
Poor young Brad.
My notes were only 4 minutes left.
Yeah, no, to be honest, this is one of them albums where I was looking at the track list as I was listening to it because I was like, one more song, just one more song.
Yeah.
When this one came on, I was like, oh, finally, one more song.
That was my entire reaction. It was just, okay, cool. The only thing I put down about this song was that it had 4 minutes to go, and that was it.
See, I said, the Ultra Cheese, the whole point of the song, at least it did have a point, was that it was a cheesy love song. I said it was a shitty 50s Elvis ripoff, but at least it was somewhat a structured song. It was boring, but not insulting.
Right. I'm glad you said that because I didn't want to get slated here, but so I'll read out exactly what I wrote down. This song summed up my relationship with Arctic Monkeys now, and then it was the lyric, "We ain't friends anymore." And then I said, "I fucking hate pianos now forever."
Yeah.
And then I ended with, "This song is fine, but I want to kill myself now."
It's not fine, but it's not as bad as the previous two. The previous two songs are so bad that this was like a palate cleanser.
That's the thing. I feel like it's the exact same. Me writing "it's fine" is like if I had Francis Ngannou punching my face, okay, and then all of a sudden you just get some random bloke, Dave, off the street to punch your face.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as bad, but it's still bad.
Yeah.
You know, he's still hammering away.
You've still got blunt force trauma. That's what this album was going for. It wanted to inflict trauma upon your brain.
The one thing I want out of this experience, right, is someone to come back at me who enjoyed the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I want. Right? I just want someone to tell me why they enjoyed this album. Because I just need to, more than anything, I just want to understand.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever understand.
I've got a lot of friends. I think about 5 or 6 friends who genuinely enjoy this album, like enjoy it, as in listen to it in their spare time. So I'll get their opinions for you.
I feel sorry for the other band members because there are slight hints that these are still the same talented musicians from before. There's slight guitar riffs and bass riffs and drums where you're like, oh yeah, it's still Arctic Monkeys, but it's drowned out by just absolute trash.
Yeah. I said literally not a single song on this album would bang live. And if I went to a gig and they played more than 20 seconds of any of these songs, I'd leave. And then I wrote, it's just not a good album in the slightest. And I gave it 0.5 out of 5.
Jesus.
I gave it 0.5. And the only reason I gave it 0.5 is because that one song, what was it? 4 stars out of 5, 4 out of 5 was listenable. Right. I listened to it and I didn't punch a wall. Right, so 0.5 out of 5.
My rating, because I did song ratings as I went, I was going to add them up at the end. And then I was like, that's way too high because I never want to listen to this album again. And if you would actually be in physical pain from listening to an album, then you can't rate it anything above a 1 out of 10 or a 0.5 out of 5, like you said. It's like the bottom of the barrel. I just do not ever want to hear this again.
Yeah, Brad?
I don't. Okay, yeah. Just to clarify that, right? Because I think I've made it pretty clear throughout this entire speech. Is that I don't ever want to come into contact with this album ever again. If someone's playing it in a car, right, I'm getting out that car, right?
Yeah.
If someone, right, decides to put it on as background noise, I'm leaving the house. Okay. If someone wants to argue with me about how this album is good, I'll take their opinion and then throw it. Because literally, like, I'll throw fucking everything. Because it's not a good album. It's a terrible album. For me, this is a 0.
It's fair.
It's a 0.
One of the only albums I've ever listened to where it caused physical pain to me.
Even with like albums that I really do not like, okay?
Yeah.
You could at least find something in a track that you enjoyed.
100%.
I mean, like, even in like sort of a music variation, right, that I may not necessarily listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can usually find one song that you're like, that was a cool idea.
Yeah.
That was a good vocal performance. That was, I could maybe not listen to that again, but if it was on in the background, I wouldn't hate it. Okay.
Yeah, there's an appreciation for the art.
Even if it was just one song. This album, I don't ever want to listen to any of those songs.
Yeah.
Ever again, right?
Yeah.
In absolutely no aspect. Okay. So for me, how can I give it a 1 even if there is absolutely nothing on the album I can enjoy?
That's fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I like the Zelda noises, so that's what I took from the album.
Okay.
That's all I had.
So I'd just like to say, just after that, I would like to apologize formally to Adam and Brad and myself. I'd like to apologize to myself as well for putting us through this. I thought it would be a laugh.
No.
But evidently not.
I couldn't even find this album funny bad.
It's not even Samurai Cop levels of funny bad.
No, it's really not.
It's
just bad. There's no redeeming qualities. I think we made our feelings pretty clear on that. So I'm expecting just pure Arctic Monkeys hate when this episode comes out.
Yeah. Adam, we have got one last segment, which is the question.
Yeah.
Please make me happy before I go to bed.
So my question, I sort of mentioned this to Brad the other day anyway, because we were watching Dunkirk. And it's a good movie, but I was saying to Brad, one of my pet peeves in films is war films where the soldiers aren't dirty. So like they've been in a jungle for 6 months, or they're on a beach that's just been bombed, and then suddenly you've got like Harry Styles with a coiffed hair and he's like wearing makeup, you know. And that's one of my pet peeves, when I don't believe the characters are in the setting that they're supposed to be in. So Dylan, what's one of your biggest pet peeves in film?
So off the top of my head, let me have a little think. A pet peeve. Well, I don't like when movies you have to, I'm not going to say be smart to watch it, but I don't like it when you have to have a fucking uni degree in filmmaking to understand a plot.
Yeah.
You know? Don't get me wrong, I like a movie with a twist or which makes you think, but I don't like movies where you almost have to look up the meaning of it after.
You wait till some of my recommendations come out, and then you're going to be very upset.
Oh, no. So that's one of my pet peeves. Brad, what about you?
People that act like Orlando Bloom.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Orlando Bloom acts like Orlando Bloom, so...
Orlando Bloom is your pet peeve.
No, my pet peeve is probably child actors.
Oh,
yeah, that's a big one. Anakin Skywalker. Karuskian? Karuskian?
No, because let's be honest, Adam. We know what the best one is, right? What's the film with the beach scene? My dad.
Oh, yes. I mean, he's not even a child.
What are we talking
that actor
about?
was probably 19. Aquaman.
What are we talking about? Aquaman. Oh my god.
The beach scene is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, with that guy trying to act.
Trust me.
You mean they killed my mom because of me? Opposite Willem Dafoe as well. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Imagine being that shit in front of Willem Dafoe. Right, that's a good one, Brad. That's a good one.
But no, I'm totally. Do you know what? I'm going to say that as well. I'd like to add that as well. That is child actors are awful, and I don't think they should be exempt from criticism at all.
They should be
People always go,
criticised even
"Oh,
more.
they're a child." Okay, don't choose a shit child
Yeah.
to act. You're taking me out of the movie.
Just so clear, I do not feel like children actors should be persecuted more than adult actors.
I do.
Right?
No, I do. Double down.
Right?
Double
But
down.
I do feel like there should definitely be a better direction for them to be able to act. Okay.
Yeah.
You watch a TV series such as like Stranger Things, right? Where people really enjoy the child acting, right? Because I've seen the first series.
Incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
I've not seen anything afterwards, but at no point did I dislike the child acting. Okay,
100%.
I thought it was all pretty good, especially 11. 11 was a great actor.
Yeah.
Right.
Incredible.
What's her name? Millie Bobby Brown. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right. I thought that was she acted great in that, but there is so many things I've seen where the acting is just atrocious, and that
it's always the director's fault.
you either needed, I mean, you just need better direction in that situation because the child is clearly new to it, and you need to give them a sort of a better path to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good one, Bram. Okay, so that's the end of this episode. So now we've just got our recommendations for next week. So, Dylan, yours is the film recommendation. So,
if you make me want to kill myself again, I swear to you,
you won't. You're. I'm giving myself a break here. So, we are going with the 2003. All right, so this was probably up there in the Oscars with Lord of the Rings and such, right? Director Bo Welsh, okay, with a budget of $109 million, which blows my fucking mind when I say that out loud. We're watching The Cat in the Hat.
Yes.
Now, I'll tell you why. Because The Cat in the Hat, I feel like, shaped my humor and who I am as a person.
I'm very
Cat in the Hat is honestly top tier film, and that's what I'm choosing.
Okay, good choice. And my album choice for next week, I'm not gonna do a Dylan and pick something that's just gonna be pure torture.
Okay.
But I'm gonna pick an album that recently got its 25th anniversary release. So in March, this album turned 25.
Damn.
And it's the late Old Dirty Bastard album, Return of the 36 Chambers, the dirty version. So ODB,
I don't know what that
is an affiliate of Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, okay, I've heard.
So early 90s underground hip hop. And I think that'll be an interesting discussion. And as it's a timely release of the anniversary, I want to listen to Old Dirty Bastard, Return of 36 Chambers.
Cool.
Okay, so I will see you both next week.
See you later.
Lovely.
Bye.